Senate Minority Leader Senator Abba Morrison, speaking about the internal issues in the PDP, says the party is open to a coalition, but the party has to lead it. The caucus in the House of Reps from the Southeast are speaking about the JAMB exam error, and they're asking for the resignation of the JAMB registrar. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Okimale here in Abuja. So much for us to dig into tonight, and we're going to get right into it. There are a lot of issues relating to how this country can move forward. We had a conversation about our democracy. Today it's about how we can develop. You see a lot of the Southwest Development Commission, Southeast Development Commission, Northwest Development Commission, North Central Development Commission, North West Development, all of these development commissions. And there are a lot of issues that the president and those who are in power need to pay attention to. The politicking is already getting in the way of the progress. The intention and the rationale behind the creation of all of this is now becoming a joke, because the manner in which things are going, if you're not careful, this is just going to be a day for boys to get paid. That's perhaps not the reason. Tonight, we're digging into some of the issues and looking at what the law says and perhaps what exactly we should be looking at as a people. Now, the Southwest Caucus in the House of Reps, Southeast Caucus rather, in the House of Representatives are already speaking about the JAMB error. And they are asking for a few things. They want the exam to be cancelled and another date to be fixed. And they are also asking for the resignation of Professor Ishak Oloyede, the JAMB registrar. We're speaking with the leader of the Southeast Caucus in the House of Representatives. What exactly is their stand on this matter? But that's going to be after your political roundup stories.
The Senate has passed for second reading the Proceeds of Crime, Recovery and Management Bill 2025, aimed at amending the existing Proceeds of Crime Act 2024 to enhance transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the management of national assets recovered from unlawful activities. The bill, sponsored by Senator Idayat Adebule, representing Lagos West, proposes the establishment of a central agency to take over the management and disposal of recovered assets, a function currently shared among 18 government agencies. Leading the debate, Senator Adebule urged that the current arrangement has created overlapping responsibilities and inefficiencies, opening the door to mismanagement and corruption. Hence, the bill seeks to create an independent body to streamline the process and block leakages. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is appealing to the executive committee members of the party from the Southeast not to dump the party over the ongoing secretaryship position, which almost split the party into factions. The PDP Deputy National Chairman South, Mr. Taufik Arakwaja, made the appeal in Abuja when he received the resolution of the Southeast Zonal Executive of the PDP regarding the position of the National Secretary, which has been a subject of contest. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission are advocating stronger international collaborations to track, recover, and manage stolen assets. Heads of the two anti-graft agencies made the call at an event in Abuja to assess Nigeria's asset recovery regime. Members of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, picketed the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja over issues relating to withheld allowances of members and other entitlements. The protesting workers, dressed in red T-shirts, locked the gate of the ministry this morning, depriving vehicles from going in or out of the premises. A civil society group under the auspices of Coalition of Yobe East Progressive Youth is asking Yobe citizens to select a capable governorship candidate that will consolidate on the achievements of Governor Maimala Buni come 2027. The president of the coalition, Yerima Goni, disclosed this at an event in Yobe. According to him, the youth-led coalition is strongly advocating for the former president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, to contest the position of governor come 2027 in Yobe State.
Thank you so much, everyone. There you have it. Let's begin by letting you know what the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, in the Senate are saying. They came out after a press conference today, and in that press conference, led by the minority leader, Senator Abba Moro, they've dismissed the speculations of internal collapse within the party. The party is saying that it remains strong and united despite recent challenges. At our press conference, Senator Moro says that, contrary to insinuations that the PDP was in shreds and on the verge of collapse, the party is waxing stronger. He talked about the internal disagreement and how the party is hoping to resolving it. He also spoke about the planned coalition and the role of the People's Democratic Party. Take a listen to Senator Abba Moro.
Consider it imperative to issue this statement to assure members of our great party that, contrary to the insinuations that the PDP is in shreds and at the verge of collapse, the party remains very, very strong and will continue to work stronger. The beauty of democracy is in the existence of robust opposition to keep the ruling party in check to ensure good governance. Celebrating the emasculation of other parties and tilting towards the one-party state certainly will not advance the cause of democracy. The Senate caucus of the PDP states that it is not averse to the idea and ideals of coalition. The caucus observes the synthesization of ideas and creating of harmony of coalition should be driven by political parties and not individuals. And as the biggest of all the opposition parties, the PDP's umbrella is big enough to accommodate all persons desirous of coalition.
So we will come to that in a moment, but let me let you know what some of the lawmakers in the House of Representatives are saying about the joint admissions and matriculations examination. The Southeast Caucus of the House of Representatives are now calling for the resignation of Professor Ishak Oloyede, who is the registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, over the technical glitch recorded in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. It also is now calling for the examination to be completely cancelled and a new date fixed for the exercise across the country. There was a statement released by the leader of the caucus, or signed off by the leader of the caucus, Honorable Igadewe Odumayunwo, and the lawmakers described the examination's outcome as a national shame. Of course, we'll be hearing explanations from the JAMB registrar as to what really happened. Let me remind you what Professor Ishak Oloyede said really happened, what caused the glitch, what is the error, and how he hoped to fix it. But don't forget that Professor Ishak Oloyede at that press conference was very emotional and was very apologetic about that error. Take a listen to him again. Let me remind you what he said.
I understand that there are three powerful expressions which contain one word, two words, or three. They are please, thank you, and I'm sorry. So I appeal to the candidates and those affected by the error of our system to accept the explanation I've given as the truth on this matter. I apologize and take full responsibility, not just in words. I want to say a big thank you to all of you, and may God bless us all.
Thank you. Vice President Ishak Oloyede, the registrar of JAMB. But yesterday, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is reacting to the technical glitch and the errors in the UTME, which affected about 380,000 candidates in Lagos and the Southeast, but he's making some proposition. Take a listen to the Deputy Speaker.
Nigeria unfortunately lost a UTME candidate to suicide, consequentially triggered by the ensuing results of this technical glitch. I call for the following urgent actions. Number 1, comprehensive review of all reports. JAMB must immediately review all available technical and independent reports, including those from third-party educational technology companies that have gathered candidate-level data to fully understand the scope and implication of the crisis. Only by triangulating internal findings with external audits can we ensure that no affected candidate is left behind.
All right, then. Let's hear from Honorable Iduma Ikarewe, who is the leader of the Southeast Caucus in the House of Representatives. They came out today in that press statement. He's live for us from Bayelsa. Thanks so much, Honorable, for joining us tonight. Before we go into the JAMB matter, let me ask you, you saw the Senate minority leader talking about the situation in your party and what is going on. Particularly, you belong to a caucus that is also seeing some kind of trouble because the secretaryship of your party, that seat is a contentious one, which is one of the issues that the party is facing. And that's the reason, one of the reasons why a lot of people believe that the party is in crisis. But the Bukola Saraki Reconciliation Committee, how far do you think that can go?
Thank you very much. Sincerely speaking, I don't want to speak on what is happening in the People's Democratic Party. I have not been invited to any of their meetings, their caucus meetings, NEC meetings, whatever name called. So I can't be speaking to what I don't know much about. So just take it from me that I don't want to comment on what is going on in the People's Democratic Party, a party I joined in 1999 till date. I don't want to comment on what is happening there because I don't know what is happening there right now.
I mean, is it not strange, Honorable, that you belong to a party that you don't know what is happening? Are you fed up with your party?
Sure, it is what it is. Today, you can see what is happening in the party. Everybody is aware of what is happening across virtually all the branches of the party. In my state, there is crisis in the party. At the national level, it is not abating. We don't know whether it will abate tomorrow, but I don't have sufficient information as a member of the National Assembly to give to Nigerians about what is happening in the PDP. Whatever I say will be mere conjecture, which will not serve any purpose. So rather than go on a wild goose chase as to what is happening, what happened in the governor's meeting, or what is happening with the secretariat, the better thing to do is to ask those who are there, those who are playing one role or the other, the major stakeholders. There is hardly any member of the PDP in the National Assembly caucus, the much I know, who knows much about what is happening. So rather than make a guess, I will think that the best people to ask are those who are in the commanding heights of the party at the moment.
So it's perhaps true that your party is in disarray.
There can be no doubt about that, Mr. Sheo. It's all there for anybody to see. There's no point pretending about it. All is not well in the party. I remain a member of the People's Democratic Party till date. But that is not to say that any member of the party, especially those who are lucky like myself to hold one office or the other, nobody should say he's happy with what is happening in the party. I'm not.
So where do you go from here? Are you one of those thinking of jumping ship to cross to maybe a calmer group, a calmer political party?
Well, I remain very conscious of Section 68 of the Constitution, whatever the Supreme Court has interpreted of it. For now, I am still watching to see whether any good thing will come out of the People's Democratic Party. Otherwise, I know my rights as a citizen of this country. I know my rights under the 1999 Constitution in terms of freedom of association. If the party does not put its house in order, people definitely will look for better places to exercise their political will. It's as simple as that. I don't just speak for myself. I know a whole lot of people may not continue to sit idly by and watch the party turn to shreds the way it clearly is being turned to shreds right now.
Okay. The coalition matter. Senator Abamoro is saying that the PDP should lead the coalition. But does the PDP look like a party that is in good shape to lead any coalition?
I said, I've not been in any meeting where the issue of coalition is being discussed. I am not in a position to know the temperature of the party, to know whether they are strong enough, whether they are well enough to enter into or lead a coalition discussion with any other political association. I am just not in a position to make any of these guesses. So
let me take
I think whatever.
But Honorable,
you probably may.
Yeah. Honorable, honestly speaking, you're speaking to millions of Nigerians who are watching tonight. Do you think your party is ready for any contest ahead of 2027 in this kind of manner in which it is?
Well, it may be too early to say. We are talking of an association of human beings. It's a dynamic environment where political engagement can be dynamic. It is possible they may put their house together tomorrow, and then 2027, they may be better organized than what they are today. So we can't, it may be too early to write off a political association because of what is happening to it at a particular time. It's dynamic, they can change, things can change tomorrow, and then the party could still be a formidable platform for people to ventilate whatever political ambitions they have, or to lead the country as they led this country for 16 solid years. So it may be too early to say that things are falling apart completely with the PDP. I'm not saying that, but I am saying what is obvious to Nigerians today, because whether you look into newspapers, look into television sets, it is either one problem or the other in one part of the country or the other. So it is fair to say that the party is having problems. But I will not say that the party will not be going to stand for an election in 2027. I'm not saying that at all.
But this is not the main issue why I invited you. But this is equally very important, because without the PDP, you probably will not be in the House of Representatives. You've been there for several years. But the big question here is that it is also very important to look at oneself in the mirror, identify what the problem is, to be able to solve it. What exactly do you think the problem of the PDP is? Can you put your finger on it?
Again, you will be asking me to hazard a guess. It is possible there are internal problems, right, which is common with every other political association. Virtually every party in this country is having one internal problem or the other. It's also possible that the problems may come from beyond internal issues. So whatever the cause of the problems, the basic fact, the truth of the matter is that the party is going through a difficult patch for the moment. Whether they are able to put their house in order in the coming days is anybody's guess.
I think frustrated you to the point that you are considering moving out of the party. Have you thought about it?
Well, like I said, I'm also a lawyer. I keep looking at the Constitution, what Section 68 says. But like I said, whatever interpretation that has been given to that section is something that will still continue to guide whatever decision I take. But if the party is not a credible platform, and I still think I need to contest the election, definitely I'll look for a place where if I have a ticket I'll know I have a ticket and I can contest the election. That is if I intend to still contest the election. So some of these things are speculative. But truth of the matter is that if the party has lost it in terms of internal cohesion, in terms of its appeal to the Nigerian people, which used to be its greatest strength, then it will be foolhardy for anybody to jump into a difficult train or a ship and say that you are taking a voyage, especially a political voyage. You don't want to take a ticket that will be marked with litigations and all that. So there are a whole lot of things any person who wants to contest the election should sit down and reflect on. That's the truth of it. Nobody can pretend about that.
Yeah. So let's go to the statement you signed off on as a leader of the caucus in the Southeast in the House of Representatives. Why are you asking for Professor Ishaq Oloyede to be removed?
If you recall, you see that we were very restrained in taking a decision. The caucus reacts to what Professor Ishaq told Nigerians on the 14th of May. On the 14th of May, he admitted to this, what we have described as a catastrophic institutional failure, where nearly 400 students who took exams in April were asked to come and retake and receive those exams. It has never happened in the history of this country, and I'm sure it came as a shock to Nigerians. People have said it was, like Ishaq said, Professor Ishaq said that it was a technical glitch. The chairman of the committee that oversights him said it was human error. Whatever caused what led to nearly 400 students to resit their exams is not the issue. The issue, as far as the Southeast Caucus is concerned, is what was the institutional response from JAMB? That was what concerned us. When he told Nigerians about what happened and was so emotional about it. Yes, mistakes can happen, but we waited to know what is JAMB going to do to remedy the situation. And what JAMB did was what prompted us to take a stand on the matter. JAMB came out 2 days after that same day or the next day to announce that students will have to go back to classrooms 2 days after, 48 hours after, to resit those same examinations. Now, those examinations were conducted on the 16th, and reports started coming out from most parts of the Southeast, especially because we are representatives of the Southeast. And if you listen to our press statement, we basically limited ourselves to what happened in the Southeast. We all got reports from our various constituencies. A lot of students could not make it to the examination halls. So a lot of people could not sit for those exams, those receipt exams. And that was our major concern. So JAMB cannot, just after 2 days, set another set of exams. You haven't even told Nigerians that you have corrected whatever led to the initial problem. People are calling for investigation. People are calling for examination of what happened. And then you have set those exams right immediately again. And students are unable to have access. So it's either they will go and they will hear it's not going to be in this center again. It's going to be in the other center. A whole lot of people couldn't take those exams. So that was at the core of our concern. We said, no, the whole thing has lost its integrity. It has lost its fairness. People who took time and prepared for exams no longer were in a position to take those exams. And what we mainly did was to say, these exams just must be done the proper way, the right way. So that's why we are saying that the exam has to be cancelled so that the right thing is done in the first place. Because we believe that JAMB cannot just come out and pepper over an examination and say they have conducted this examination.
Honorable, do you and your colleagues, your colleagues think that the Southeast is specially inflicted by with the pain in the fallout of that exam? Do you think that the Southeast has benefited from the horrific situation or the fallout of that error?
We made it very clear that with no exception, the 5 states in the Southeast, those 5 states were impacted. The bulk of more than 80% of these nearly 379,000 students, nearly 80% or 90% are from the Southeast. So we are directly affected. But our interest is not just because they are from the Southeast. Our interest is because they are Nigerians who believe in the Nigerian project. And if students have prepared to take exams, and for one reason or the other, the institution saddled with that responsibility fails and comes out to admit its failure, what do you do? Do you just waive it? Do you just say, let it, so be it? Or set the same exam within 48 hours and tell students who are already traumatized to go and receive those examinations? That would be
honorable. Professor Oloyede has apologized, and they realize the error in that, and sometimes it's human to err. And when those kind of errors come and they say, look, we're going to correct them. But why ask for that man who has spent several years, and a lot of people have applauded his reign as a registrar of JAMB over the years? Why ask for his removal? Is that fair?
Sure, this is not a sentimental thing. As far as we are concerned, this is an objective situation. If somebody has come out to admit responsibility for a particular thing, what do? Do you just go and continue doing the same thing you had taken responsibility for failing in the first place? In every other civilized society, Professor Oloyede knows what he should do. And I'll be surprised if we are a different species of people, that we cannot be honorable enough to say, I have made a mistake, I take responsibility. What does he mean by I take responsibility for what happened in JAMB? Is it I take responsibility so that I will reset the exam? Is it I take responsibility so I can correct myself? Nigerians have told him it is beyond you to correct yourself. Other stakeholders need to look into what happened in the first place. Okay, they said there were bad servers. How do we know those servers are no longer bad? You have set the exams 24 or 48 hours after. They have told Nigerians that results will be published tomorrow. What is the credibility of those results? How can we deceive ourselves in this country? You have made nearly 400 families desperate, very unhappy, traumatized. You have set exams for them. Within 2 days, you are bringing out results. How can Nigerians have faith in whatever you are churning out as results? So if we want to address a situation, we should address it structurally.
Honorable,
we should address it holistically.
Honorable, where do you think we should go from here?
Our position is very clear. We made our position very, very clear. One is that it is not enough to say 400 students or 379,997 students, you don't matter in this Nigeria. You can't say that. If they matter, then give them their due. In this case, what is their due? Their due is, look, equality is equity. Give them the same opportunity others had, those who did not suffer this. Even if it was 1 student, even if it was 12 students, in this case, we have nearly 400,000 students. Give them their due. Let natural justice take its course, which is equality. That is why we ask for these exams. So what does it take away from JAMB? To cancel these exams, some students are still taking WAEC as we speak, and their exams are clashing with the rescheduled JAMB examination. So what do you expect them to do?
Yeah, because, Honorable, you look at the situation. If you look at the fact, out of the total number of students affected, 370-something thousand, Lagos zone has the most. Lagos is perhaps the most affected in that zone, about 206,000. It's only about 173,000 candidates affected in the Owerri zone. Because the impression that maybe it's a targeted attack on the Southeast candidate. There are those who have argued against that.
Sure, we have walked away and cautioned ourselves not to bother about conspiracy theories. We are concerned with the clear facts we have seen before us. Nearly 500,000 students, more than 250,000 students, had their results tainted. And then you wake up and admit, yes, these results are tainted, they're not what they are supposed to be. And then 24 hours after that, they haven't even recovered from the shock. Whether the exam they took in April was April Fool, they haven't even recovered from it. You say that you are setting another one for them. They don't have sufficient notice to prepare for these exams. You go and set it. Now, within 72 hours, you are bringing out fresh results. What magic could you have done to assuage these same worries Nigerians have?
All right.
It's not a matter of whether majority of the students came from the Southeast. These students are Nigerian students. What we speak on behalf of students from the Southeast applies for others who may be in the Southwest or wherever they are, who are equally undergoing the same kind of situation. We are saying even if it is 10 students, even if it is 20, in this case, more than 250,000, and you say you won't cancel that election, you just come and demonstrate before Nigerians and say, I am sorry.
All right.
Then you believe that ends it. It is insufficient. The remediation from JAMB is grossly insufficient, grossly unacceptable, and does not go to solving the problem.
Okay.
That's why we are saying that the exams should be cancelled, fresh ones set, so that everybody is at an equal keel. Let people go and take these exams. Let them study. They still have, in fact, some major stakeholders in the education sector are even suggesting that these exams should come after WAEC and NECO, sometime in August. You still have September before admissions. So what's the hurry in doing this thing now when we have seen that the atmosphere is simply not conducive
Honorable,
for the receipt of these expectations?
Thank you so much. Honorable Uduma Enwo Igarewe, a member of the House of Representatives from Ebonyi State and the leader of the Southeast Caucus in the House of Representatives. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's move our attention to regional development. It does look like those who are arguing. In fact, what we are doing in terms of the regional commission, the Southwest Commission, the Southeast Commission, the Northwest Commission, the Northeast Commission, is it in fact in our constitution, regional development like this? But what has come as a new development is the move by Senator Opeyemi Bamidele for the amendment to the Establishment Act of the commissions. The Nigerian Senate successfully amended the act establishing the South-South, the Southwest, and the North-Central Development Commissions, paving the way for the appointment of additional executive directors to bolster administrative efficiency within the regional bodies. The amendment, sponsored by Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele, presented as 3 separate bills. The implications of this, whether at the point where we're discussing pruning down the number of the cost of governance and pruning down the numbers of those who are in government to ensure that there is effectiveness and cost saving in governance. But let's take a sense on let's make sense on what this means for regional development, national development in Nigeria. I'm being joined by political and policy analyst Kolawole Johnson is live for us here in our studio. Mr. Johnson, it's good to have you join us tonight.
Thank you to be here.
When I saw this, I just remember our last conversation.
I didn't know you were bringing me for this again.
And it came to my mind, and I said, what exactly is going on? The amendment is creating and several other offices and positions. Let me first and foremost ask you, what do you make of, it was just about a few days ago when this came up on the floor of the Senate. What do you make of that move?
We may not be able to access that move independently if we do not look perhaps at the entire scenarios, there is something I noticed about the government that I think the government will need to correct in good time. I'll give you an example or two. Last year, the president signed an executive order to ensure that, to exempt some pharmaceutical product, from import tax. But the implementation notice did not start until this quarter, second quarter. It was signed 2024 second quarter. Implementation 1 year after. That was meant to, to help the people, to help them with the impact of the subsidy removal and other policies. But that waited for a whole year. You can lay the blames of such and many others at the doorstep of the president. So directly, it's him. Again, indirectly, it is not him, because he has people appointed to man different offices to ensure that these policies are driven to success. But when you have the square peg in a round hole, now you have ultimately, this is what you get. You will not have good implementation. You will not have good deliveries. Again, the people suffer. So if you have laws that are meant to drive development, I think it is incumbent on us to look at those who are manning. Because if you are creating a development administration platform, two things mattered. First is the institution itself, the law. The law that is guiding the activity of that institution. One. Two is those who man the places, because if you have good institution without, corresponding solid manpower, you're likely not to have effective delivery. Again, if you have good manpower without the enabling laws in place, again, development may suffer. So I think it is in the interest of the nation for the commission to have, of course, strong laws respected and, good manpower in place. And that takes us to this. Now, I think I read it, that's the excuse that the Senate gave was that they encounter some problems in implementation. So what are those problems? I don't know. Maybe they need to explain to us. Then secondly, they said it needs to conform with, with some other structure. So if you look at the structure of the commissions created, I think they look at the peculiarities of each region to create it. And if we see what they have done now, we may be able to compare and see what went wrong. But something must be clear. Except this is being reduced to another joke, a place, to give boys money to eat. Chop. If it is actually a place to drive development, I think the president should be interested directly.
Legally speaking, Mr. Johnson,
yes.
Legally speaking,
yes.
There are those who will say that there is no recognition of regional structures in our constitution.
No.
All of these regional arrangements may not be grounded in our laws. Now, the issue are already coming up. In your own state, Ondo State, for example, appointments...
Can I avoid talking about myself?
No, but these are issues.
Can I please avoid
No, but these are issues about appointment and how some people... it's all over the papers. Yeah. And these are some of the issues that we thought that will never come up. And I'm talking about the legality of some of these regional structures, which, we're having this conversation when we thought that the federal hand in subnationals, in the constituent units, should be reduced. Now we are creating more units, more offices, more money to be spent in governance rather than in productive aspect of our lives.
Okay, let me look at this from two perspectives. First, if you talk about reducing the size, the overbloated, we have said this before again and again. There's a need to do that. But creating instruments of development administration may not necessarily mean overbloating the government. You can reduce the ones that are not working as such, because most of the work will be done in these respective agencies. See, look at some factors. During Jonathan administration, you had a Ministry of Agric that was looking at giving farmers, was it telephone or credit or something. So there are some things you can't just sit in Abuja to do. It is easier for regional, so to speak, development commission to do needs assessment, situation awareness, and deploy appropriately. Now, not the generic term, not sit down to just create a budget, that will work for all generally. So for me, I do not think I'm seeing these as creating, places, that will not add to us in terms of development. But what we must warn against is the approach to make it a place for the boys to eat. Now that takes us to how the commission came to be. Now let's look at that. At first, don't forget that the first that came into being was Northeast Development Commission. And that was responding to the destruction in the place to create a body to be able to look at it.
Boko Haram attacks
and that was formed. That mirrored directly the NDDC. But the mistake was made because NDDC is not a regional development commission. It's an intervention agency, to cater for a particular set of people and places. This, not even for all the states. You see, for example, in some states, maybe you have only 2 local governments that is involved in the, that is captured in the NDDC. So that is only regional development. But the NEDC was tailored, was mirroring, or they mirrored NDDC in creating that. Now, I think that's it. So the Southeast guys came, please, look at this, and said, if you can create something for the Northeast, you should be able to create something for us to Southeast. We had our own devastation. We had our own destruction. So the argument against started from the National Assembly.
What is the devastation in Southwest?
Southwest. Now, let's get there. I'll get there. Now, so when Northwest look at that, they say, you can't create for Northeast, you can't create for Southeast, and you leave us alone.
Bandits
so they again
started.
Now, of course, North Central said, this crisis, you're creating something from Northeast, from Northwest. We were not even, it was people from this area. People from this area came, to cause the same destruction in our place. We are not considered, yet you consider them. Again, they got to the part of the agitation. Of course, South and Southwest said, you can't be creating things for yourself and you leave us out of it. So that was how we arrived here. So the National Assembly drove this, so to speak. However, there's a need for the federal government to own it as an instrument of development administration and not some instrument, See, if you look at the polity, you look at our budget, the number one risk you have for deliveries, for governance deliveries in terms of project implementation is the National Assembly. I say that without any fear or favor. Now, let me take you back to during the NDDC probe days. The sitting Senate president now accused the National Assembly of probably taking all the jobs in the commission. Do you think that will change with this? So I'm expecting the president to sit back because have we learned anything from the failures or the problems of NDDC? Let me not even
structural problems.
The answer is no, we haven't.
Is the president aware of some of the because the intentions of helping the regions to grow? Because I remember how the regions were competitive in terms of development in the Second Republic. And how things, you see how economic growth
was
engineered.
That was my drive when I was
with this politicking that is going on.
When I was supporting
governors are fighting National Assembly,
let me tell you,
and National Assembly members.
Let me tell you this clearly. I think we may have to open a book of remembrance for the National Assembly soon, honestly speaking, because we're waiting for the outcome of whatever they will amend and do for us to sit. You can see every single penny that is spent. We will pay for it directly or indirectly. Don't forget that we're borrowing so much. My children can't be paying debts that they did not eat. You can't borrow money and some people will sit down to eat all and all of us will be paying back. Do you know how much you owe today as a Nigerian? Do you know how much your children, how much they owe individually? So that we must be interested in what happens in these places. So when we look at whatever amendment they have done, or whatever is it that they come up with after all of this, we should
although you are running away from talking about the political crisis in your
state.
And
I've done that
and how some governors in some states believe that they've gone far, National Assembly members are going far and above their head to be able to make input in all of these commissions.
Okay. Okay. I didn't want to address that, but let me just talk, briefly. Here is it. A senator was accused of going to another state to nominate, even though the nomination should come from the state. Again, that's
talking proverbially.
Yes,
there are accusations that the Senate leader, Okoyemi Bamidele from Ekiti State, has nominated a candidate from Ondo State. That is what the papers are saying.
Okay. Shem, let me not speak on that. Except you want to just...
No, but it's in the papers. It's all over. It's everywhere.
Okay, clearly. Now...
But that's what is on the ground in Ondo State. That is what some politicians are advocating over.
You know, I always try to have, to do my analysis without focusing on individuals, except when such individuals, when they overstep boundaries excessively. I think the main accusation about Ekiti will not just be him stretching hands to Ondo State to pick, which I will not talk about, but the fact that in the same commission, Ekiti has a chairman, Ekiti has a member and an executive director. If you check the law, what the law, says, it's different. That where you have the chairman, they will not have an executive director. Secondly, where you have the MD, they will not have an executive director. Except you amend that place. What was done was illegal, was unlawful, and was unjust and unfair. Now, on him picking a candidate from a different state, I will decide to be silent on that on purpose because I don't want to get involved in their political fight. Let us focus on what, on how to drive development. Because we supported this. Look at the last program we did on this. We were, comparing China, looking at comparative advantage, looking at competitive advantage. Yeah. Even already suggesting what can happen in Southeast, in Southwest. Yeah. I was even talking about my state with the, with the DC port, talking about the oil fields and how we can create something tangible from the place. My entire mindset was that the government was serious about development. And I think the president needs to be serious about this. There's a need to own this and take it from the National Assembly. If you allow them to own it, even the agencies under you, do you know how they call those head of agencies and parastatals, harassing them in and out? Of course, you know that. There's nothing like oversight function, it's overpaid function.
Let me pause you for a moment, Claudia. We'll go on a break, but when we come back, I remember vividly that having to understand the concept of the industrial hubs in China, you will know that the regional commission, if properly utilized, Nigeria in the next 10 years will be a giant in industrialization and in productivity. That's going to be our focus next. On this commission, yes, there are those who say it is a legal aberration, it's no regional structure in our constitution. But then, if the aberration has been done, how can we use it for our own good? Be right back after this.
It's not technology that moves a nation. It's the people who dare to harness it. For over 25 years, TD Africa has been building the digital backbone of Africa, getting the right technology into the right hands. Today, we are the trusted distribution partner for global tech giants, Microsoft, Starlink, IBM, Cisco, Dell, Huawei, HP, Zynox, EcoFlow, Samsung, Checkpoint, and more. We deliver genuine technology solutions to businesses across 47 African countries, from robust infrastructure to smart devices to cloud solutions that scale. We are here to make the digital economy work. Partner with TD Africa. Visit tdafrica.com or email inquiries at tdafrica.com. TD Africa, empowering you.
No matter what life throws at your family, no matter the condition, day or night, it's a minor pep. Not yourself, I know I'm not. Take over daddy, mommy, auntie, and uncle. It's a minor pep. No matter who you are, a minor pep. Take over 10.
Amino Pep Fort contains 10 essential amino acids, multivitamins, minerals enriched with zinc.
No matter who you are, Amino Pep, take over 10.
Amino Pep Fort from Sea Green Pharmaceuticals Limited protects you and your family. As a little girl, I lit up every room with my presence. But as I grew, a shadow crept in. Little by little, I began to retreat from the warmth I used to share. With each reflection, images stared right back at me, so much that I longed to find brightness once more. Just then, I found Cosmo. With every stroke, Cosmo was everything I needed to shine. Not just did Cosmo haircare products revive my hair, it reconnected me with the woman I had always aspired to be. From childhood dreams to grown-up goals, my radiance is reborn with healthy, luscious hair, thanks to Cosmo.
Cosmo, for the love of beauty, marketed and distributed by GVS Cosmetics.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So let's get back to the conversation on regional developments in Nigeria and the creation of the different commission: Northwest Commission, Northeast Commission, North Central Commission, Southeast Commission, Southwest Commission, South-South Commission. Well, what is the work of these different state governments? Those who have argued about the issues of the regional structure and how it is not founded in any part of our constitution have their own argument. But now that has been done. But where I want us to anchor tonight with my guest, Kolawole Johnson, who is a policy and political analyst.
Before you ask the question, do you think after, because this is a question of the law, can we still call it an aberration?
By the Act of Parliament. Now, the law gives, the Constitution gives the power to the Parliament to be able to create laws.
Yes, to create laws.
And in such creation of laws, establishment of agencies are also part of those, in their purviews. But the question is whether or not our Constitution recognizes a regional structure. There are three major structures recognized by our laws. The central government, which is the federal, the state, and the local government. Is there in the sensibility? Because then you are now changing the idea of the kind of democracy we run, which sees federating unit and the central government as the presidential and the federal government.
All right. Haven't gone through the necessary training in political economy and development studies. I can counter you on that. The federal government can create instrument of administration. They can create bodies to drive development. It's like creating a ministry. It has nothing to do with, they are not changing, the arms of the arms you have of the level of government that, that you have. And again, don't forget that I have something in pol science. I have first-class honors in political science. So if I take you up on that, I'll defeat you.
Because there are arguments about the issue of law, but I don't want us to.
I don't think it is unlawful. I don't think it is unlawful for the government to create instruments of
whether or not. There are days now that you know what they call BBL. People are now adding some part of their bodies to what, and it does exist, and they add those bodies that God did not give them.
If men like us do not patronize them, they would have stopped.
That's not the argument for tonight. But the question here is, and I want us to anchor on this, using the Chinese model, on how the Chinese. So ask my Igbo brothers. Fantastic set of human beings. Ask them about China. They will be able to tell them off their fingers. But if you don't know, let me just give you only 5 of the industrial hubs in China. If you want what they call the China Silicon Valley, Shenzhen, that's the tech hub. Go to Guangzhou. That is a fashion and beauty industry hub of China. Go to Dongguan. It is a manufacturing hub for packaging, apparel, and printing machinery. Go to Shanghai. Shanghai has a strong manufacturing base, particularly in automobiles, with major plants for Volkswagen and General Motors. Go to Ningbo. Ningbo has chemicals, electrical machinery, telecom equipment. If you go to a place like Zuzhou, who is known for the precision engineering in machinery and medical equipment, you can mention up to 20 or more industrial hubs in China. The question where we perhaps I would like us to anchor is whether or not we can take a leaf from this and say, can Nigeria also have this industrial hub using these regional structures? Because what we then see at the end of the day is that the regional development commissions will be doing the role and some jobs or the roles of the state government.
Okay.
And duplication of efforts.
Sure. I was walking through Stratford area in East London a few days ago, and you will see what the Olympic brought to that area. A lot of those places were slum, and very, very neglected areas or less developed areas. But because of the Olympic, they changed the entire place. Now, it was not just the effort of the federal. The boroughs were also involved. So whether it is the state or the federal or the local government, the singular goal is development. So whoever is bringing that should be accepted. But there must not be duplication of duties. That must be spelled out. That's why I said, I don't think I will call this a regional body. It is a regional development body from the federal government that would not in any way disturb or hinder whatever the state government is doing. And don't forget that there will be, the two of them will be liaising, the regional development body and the state, so that there will not be duplication of jobs and of duties. However, where should we anchor these? Should we look at a template of China? Excellent, of course. You can't reinvent the wheel. It is there already. But I think for that to work, the president must be able to sit down himself and set agenda for the respective development commission, because you're the one that, if you have your hope agenda, so sit down and be able to do that. That is one way you can do that directly. But if you look at something excellent that the law has created, if you go to section 18, the law created, section 18(1) and 2, created the room for the president to choose to nominate members to be members of the monitoring committee. And what that monitoring committee ought to do is to look at the books of this commission regularly and write report to the president every quarter. And that look at the account, every single week, so that they can hold them accountable and report to the president every quarter. See, if that is done, what that would do is that the president can set agenda through this monitoring group. But I say there is no point creating monitoring committee for each of the development commission. The president, they can amend that law and create a singular monitoring committee for the entire commission to ensure that they look into their books, hold them accountable, set agenda for them, and report and sit down with the president every quarter to drive the development.
We are totally out of time, Mr. Clawley Johnson. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
Of course, I know that this Lekki Free Trade Zone, these are some of the, it's not the lacking of laws, but also all being purposeful. You're talking about the president. President Bola Tinubu has returned from Rome. He's being received at the airport by some top government officials at the Abuja airport. President Tinubu arrived after the invitation from the new Pope Leo. Well, that's our program tonight, and I hope that the president watched it and able to set agenda for all of these development commissions so that we can be able to actually develop our nation purposefully. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.
It's nice to have you join us. You're watching News Track on Channels Television. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Here are top stories making the rounds at this time. Starting off from the National Assembly, the Senate has passed for second reading the Proceeds of Crime, Recovery and Management Bill 2025, aimed at amending the existing Proceeds of Crime Act 2022 to enhance transparency, accountability and efficiency in the management of national assets